Hey, this is Jennifer and Megan. We are two sisters from South Carolina on a mission to discover more about our British grandmother's life in London by reading, researching, and sharing her love letters she wrote to her American soldier sweetheart during World War II. Our grandmother Lucy was born and raised in London, England, and our grandfather Jimmy was born and raised in South Carolina. He was in the U.S. Army and was stationed near Salisbury when they first met. At some point, he visited London and he and Lucy met somewhere in Covent Garden. At the time of the first letter that we have, Lucy and Jimmy had met, fallen in love, gotten engaged, and were planning on getting married in London and then moving to South Carolina once the war was over. But before they were able to get married, Jimmy was shipped off to France. They thought he would be coming back to London sometime soon after leaving, but as we now know, that didn't happen. And from the moment they departed at the train station, it will be 2 years before they are reunited. And so this 2-year period that they were apart is what gave us these letters we are reading today. It's such a beautiful love story that we just have to share it. Also, it's taken a life of its own as we've made so many awesome discoveries along the way, and it has become an ongoing research project. So, if you're looking for an interesting, unique perspective on life, love, and London during World War II, then you've found the right place. We will take you through each letter and bring them to life as we have recently traveled to some of the exact places mentioned in these letters. Think of this as a historical love story come to life. So, grab your favorite beverage and blanket and prepare to dive in with us. This is the All My Love, Lucy podcast. Hey, and welcome back to the All My Love, Lucy podcast. Today we have our second interview episode. It was a true pleasure to interview this guest. She is a beloved mother, grandmother, sister, and more. She's a sports enthusiast and joins us from the land down under. We are thrilled to introduce Lucy's great niece, our cousin Mary, to you today. We connected with her by doing a DNA test last year through MyHeritage, and we couldn't be happier to have made this amazing family discovery. So without further ado, we hope you enjoy meeting her as much as we have. First of all, Mary, we want to say thank you for agreeing to do this interview. We are so excited about sharing you with all of our friends and family and our audience and sharing our awesome story of our connection, how we got connected and found each other. So we're really excited about that. So how are you doing today?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, lovely to be here. Lovely to be talking to you. An amazing story. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're so excited. So just to get started, you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and your children and all of that.
Yeah, so my name's Mary, and I live on the central coast of Australia. I emigrated in 2005 from the UK. I have 3 gorgeous children. Daniel's 35, Beth is 33, and Jack is 30. I've also got 4 amazing grandchildren, which I'm really enjoying spending time with. Eliza and Kobe are best children. Eliza's 13, Kobe's 1, and Daniel, my eldest son, he's got 2 beautiful girls. Bonnie is 8 and Odette is 6. Yeah,
it's amazing that Bonnie's the one that is really close in age with Scarlett Ann, my youngest, right?
Only a few days. 10th of May she was born. Yeah,
and they're pen palin, and they both have the same color hair, same color eyes. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
to me. So you have a beautiful family, and we were so excited we got to meet Jack when we were in London, and we keep talking about that. That was one of the biggest highlights of our trip, meeting him. He was great. We immediately connected and felt like family. That was awesome, and we've been talking to Beth since day one. She's originally who I reached out to.
That connected us all, isn't she? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
she is.
amazing with Jack because he'd literally landed in England like a couple of weeks before. So the fact
Right.
he came from Australia, you came from America, and you were there at the same time was
I know.
just so, yeah, really meant to be. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was. We felt that too because we did not anticipate being able to get our schedules together. So that was awesome. We were so glad that we were able to do that. So your name, just tell us a little bit about. It kind of gets into your parents and grandparents, but you're named after someone special, aren't you?
Um, what my middle name, yeah,
Hmm.
is after Ellen, my grandmother. But my first name, apparently, I didn't know this until a few years ago. It was a tradition in the Cosington family to name your firstborn daughter after your middle name. My mum didn't have a middle name, but her name was Rosemary, and I think
Hmm.
that's why she named me Mary because it was the
Right.
second part of her name. Yeah.
I love that
Yeah,
name, Rosemary. That's beautiful.
yeah.
And I
Everyone
love
called her
Mary too.
Rose, though. Everyone called her
Hmm.
Rose. Yeah.
So tell us, speaking of your parents, tell us a little bit about your parents. And did your mom have mom? I say mom.
Yeah. Mom.
Did your mom have siblings and all of that?
Yeah. Well, my dad's name was Ronald Wood, and he came from Eastbourne, and he married my mum in 1955 in London. My mum, I don't know if everyone knows, my mum is Lucy's niece, so
Hmm.
I'm Lucy's great niece. Yeah, my mum grew up in East Ham in London. Um, yeah, and she had three siblings. So an
Hmm.
older sister, Lucy, and an older brother, Alf, and then she had a younger brother, Peter, as well. Yeah.
And it was so fun because I've always had the picture. Well, we've always had the picture of Alf and his wife at their wedding, and I never knew the connection. Like, who was it? And I was kind of confused because of the year and just and when we connected last year, you sent me that picture, and I was like, I have that picture.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
That was,
Yeah,
and
so
so you
so
put that.
Alf was your dad's cousin. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfred, your mom's dad, is Lucy's one of Lucy's older brothers.
Yeah.
And when did he and Ellen, your grandmother, pass away?
He died in, unfortunately, it was very sad. He died in January 1927. I'm not quite sure how. I have heard that it was an accident at work, but I don't exactly know. And my grandmother, Ellen, bless her, was pregnant with my mum. So my mum was born in April 1927. So she very sadly never met him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Ellen, she died in 1958, which was quite sad for me because I wasn't born till 1960, so I never met her either. Yeah, but my
Oh
mum
wow.
and her were very close. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling the story. It was your mom and your grandmother that would get under the table when they would hear the doodle bugs. That's who you were talking about, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I remember my mum talking about it, and she mentioned that the doodle bugs, the bombs, were the worst because
Hmm.
you'd hear the noise of them, which was fine. While the noise was going, you knew they were still flying. It was when the noise stopped, and then everyone panicked. And she said her and her mum used to dive under the kitchen table and then wait to hear the bang, to see where it
Uh,
landed, and then hopefully it never landed on them, and it didn't. But yeah,
yeah.
must have been so scary. My mum would have been in her like mid-teens, I think. Then
Hmm.
she was 12 when the war started. Yeah, yeah,
Wow, that was. I can't imagine it. The more we talk about it, and the more we get into these doodle bug bombs and all that, that had to just be terrorizing for all of them to live
yes,
through
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
we
can't. I
don't
can't
realize,
imagine.
And now when we talk about anxiety and things like that, they must have had that really bad. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know that just seems like such a panic. You would think that it would just be constant panic
Yes.
living that
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
now, who was the oldest family member that you remember or that was alive out of all of your? I know
Yeah.
your grandparents passed away before you were born.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this before. We're not quite sure what happened, but there was some sort of rift in the family, and so my mum and her siblings didn't have a great deal to do with the rest of the family. I don't know why. Again, these are all secrets they kept.
Yeah.
So the eldest one was my Auntie Lucy, which was my mum's oldest sister. Yeah, she was. Her and my mum were close, but I think there was about 5 or 6 years age difference between them. And so I do remember she didn't live far from us when I was growing up. So my mum and I used to jump on the bus and go and see her and have lunch with her. I would have been about 8 or 9 then. Yeah, and I used to love that. We used to go over to her house on the bus and
Yeah.
go and see her. Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
does she have any living children, grandchildren?
Yeah, she had 2 daughters. Sadly, the youngest one has now passed away, Kathleen. But her older daughter, Susan, she's still around, and we're in contact. And whenever I go to England, I go and meet up with her, and yeah, we always sit and chat about our mums. It's lovely. Yeah,
That is lovely.
yeah,
And when we go to next time we go to London, we're going to try to connect and
yeah,
go get our schedules, and hopefully we can meet her and her
yeah.
family too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
That
going
would
to
be
sort of
awesome.
try and arrange that. Yeah. And I think you're already in contact with her son, Peter Sullivan. He's on the website. Yeah, the Kensington Ancestry website. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was keen to connect and have a look at what was going on. Yeah. And she's got
Yeah.
another son, David. Yeah. So,
Yeah, we need to have a big family reunion over there when we go
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and get
That would be
together.
wonderful. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to meeting Ray, your brother.
Yes, my brother Ray. Yeah, yeah. He's been really excited about the podcast and getting involved and loves
Yeah, we
looking
love
up
it.
bits of information. He really enjoys that. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
love it. I loved he posted the picture of that book, and then he had some Calvados.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, yeah,
I loved it. It was great. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we love that. But we're definitely going to have to meet him next time. We missed him when we were in London, so we're definitely going to have to meet him next
Yeah.
time. So, are there any treasured family heirlooms from your grandfather Alfred or grandmother Ellen that you have, or is there any kind of story behind those?
Yeah, the only thing I did have that I got from my mum's house was a cake plate. It's really beautiful. I haven't got a picture of it, unfortunately. I can maybe, but when I left to England and came to Australia, put everything in storage. And the last time I was back, I thought, oh, I better start clearing some of this out, And I found the cake plate and I gave it to Ray's, my brother's daughter, Jo, and she's got it. And it was apparently my grandmother's, Ellen's, and my mum had borrowed it off of her or something for my brother's christening, and somehow never gave it back, and it ended up with us. Yeah, so
So that's nice.
that's a real treasured thing, and I feel really happy that I know Jo's got it and it's safe with
Right.
her. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
as long as it's in the family somewhere,
yes,
it's
yeah,
great to keep them in the family. Yeah.
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 So
So, and I know that you have posted or sent me the picture of, I believe, Ellen Lucy's, about her, where she's buried.
Yes, yeah, in
Is
London.
Alfred buried the same place?
I don't know. I've got no
Okay.
record of that. I've just found that
Mm-mm.
little card amongst all my pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just saying where she was interned. He might be, or she
Mm-hmm.
might be in her family plot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure where he's. And then, like I say, up until about 5 or 6 years ago, I knew very little about my grandfather, and I was only talking to my cousin Sue, and she had that picture that you've got of
Mm-hmm.
him, and we were just going through old pictures and things, and before then, I didn't even really know what his full name was. It's weird, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets away from you, especially
Yes.
if they pass away before you're born. Then sometimes that
Yeah.
information gets away from you. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
lost. Even though our dad was living until 2006, a lot of the information that he had is gone. It's lost to us, and so we are so excited about connecting, especially with you and your family, because that's a really close relation to
Yes.
our grandmother. I never dreamed that we would find all of y'all.
Yes. That's it.
I
Yeah.
never dreamed that.
Yeah.
It was always a mystery, and we thought because Lucy's siblings were older than her, and Daisy, her sister, was the closest one in age, and she never married and never had children. So we never dreamed that we would connect with any of you, and it's been just
Yeah.
amazing. So what were you, speaking of, what were your thoughts and feelings when Beth first told you that there was someone that had the same DNA or that we were related?
Yeah.
How would,
Well, I mean,
how'd you feel about
it
that?
was strange really because Beth just did her DNA. She mostly did it because she just wanted to find out what her makeup was and the country
Mm-hmm.
she was, sort of where she came from. And then she just rang me one day and she said, "Oh, I've been contacted by someone." And she said to me, was your mum's maiden name Cosington? And as soon as she said Cosington, because it's quite an unusual name,
Yeah.
I went, yes, that's right. I was so excited because I've often wondered. And
Mm-hmm.
again, my mum died when I was 15. So I've never, and I was too young, like you were too
Mm-hmm.
young to ask Lucy questions. I was a little bit too young to ask her questions. And so I knew very little about the family. Yeah. So it's just been
Yeah.
amazing. I was so excited. Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
And you remind me so much of her when she was younger. When I hear you talk, it just takes me back to her and so
Oh,
much. And it makes me, it's just nostalgic, to talk to you too. But so when was your last visit to London? I know you're in Australia now, but
yes.
you visit London quite often, right? You
Uh,
not all the time, but
yeah, about every 3 or 4 years, I try to
hmm
go back. I was lucky enough to go back in 2019 in August, which was really, really good because it was just before COVID hit,
oh
and
yeah,
everything shut down. So I went back then and sort of went on my own, but I always have a wonderful time when I'm there. I go and see my brother and catch up with family, and then I see all my friends and I travel around because I grew up in Essex, but
hmm
when I married, I moved to Coventry for about 7 years, and then I lived in Lincolnshire. So it was funny you talking about the Magna Carta in Lincoln.
hmm
I never knew about that. Next time I'm there, I'll have to go and have a look. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I was
yeah,
clueless. Of course, we don't, yeah, as far as British history and all that.
yeah.
It's not on the forefront of our mind, and so when I was reading about the Salisbury Cathedral, and it
Yes,
said
yeah.
that it had one of the copies of the Magna Carta, I was like, what?
Yeah,
So
and
that
there's
was
one
really
in
interesting.
Lincoln, you said,
Hmm
didn't you? Because Lincoln's got a massive cathedral as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Lincoln. I think it's Lincoln Castle or something like that. I can't
Oh,
remember
yes,
exactly,
they've
but
got the castle and the cathedral
hmm
are like next to each other. Yeah,
hmm
in Lincoln. So next time I go, I'm going to go there. But
yeah,
yeah, so I'm hoping to go back next year, maybe in August again next year. So and spend a bit of time
Yeah,
again.
and it
Yeah.
will be awesome. I hope we can coordinate our visits.
Yes, that would be good.
So, yeah,
Yes.
that would
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
So, well, we're coming to the close of our interview, and first of all, again, thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I know we've been talking several times already before today, and so we feel like we've known it. I feel like I've known you forever.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
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 So, two questions that I want to ask all of our guests, and that is first, one book recommendation that you have. What's a book that you would recommend to us?
Um. Well, I mean, I love to read. I read a lot, and I do like Jeffrey Archer. But the most recent, one of the recent books I've read, it's called The Dry, and it's set in Australia, outback, and it's by
Oh,
an author called Jane Harper, and they did make a movie as well. Yeah, really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I love a little
I'll have to
twist
check
at the
that out.
end. Yes, yeah.
And then the last question, and we'll be finished. And that is, what is one piece of life advice or something to live by that you would like to share?
As I've got older, I realised one of the things I always think is don't sweat the small stuff. Like, don't
That's
worry
good.
about the little things. Just,
Hmm.
concentrate on your family and the love in your life, and they're the important things. And just let the little things go. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's
yeah,
great advice. I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. Again, it's been a pleasure having you on here, and it's an honor, really, to have you on here with us and to
Oh,
talk with
I've
you.
enjoyed it.
And we really appreciate it. And we'll be talking to you again soon. So
Yeah,
thank you.
lovely. Thank you, Jennifer.
If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We truly hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll return for the next episode of the All My Love Lucy podcast.